egg hunts, concerts, big brand collabs, and more were all events that Roblox cancelled, and today we're going to break them all down. Though please subscribe to help us eventually reach 400,000 subs and stay tuned because some of these might shock you. And firstly, let's start with a pretty big collab that actually got cancelled, which is pretty unfortunate, being a Roblox and Lego collab. More specifically, a Lego Star Wars collab. So back in 2012, I think there's like a Lego Star Wars show going on, and Roblox was expected to collab with them. And we know this because there's a bunch of leaked items found, which were actually pretty cool and pretty unfortunate that I never released. Because what they basically did was just recreate Lego items, but on Roblox, and it would have been really cool because we would have had like Lego type avatars or items, but on Roblox. And in general, it was a very cool collab idea. But unfortunately, after people discovered everything, and people were waiting for it to release, it just never released. And we don't really know why it ended up being cancelled, but unfortunately it did. Which does suck because it could have been a really cool collab. But also with that being said, this is also apparently the first ever event that was cancelled because it's all the way back in 2012. Which does suck because like I said, the items were actually pretty cool. But with that being said, fast forward now years later, with the state of the UGC program being awful, people have actually uploaded these items and re-uploaded them. I don't know if the items got taken down, I assume they did, but people have tried re-uploading and recreating these items from the event because they were so cool and just put on the UGC catalog. So I mean, technically after all these years we did get the event items, but they weren't official. It isn't what it could have been. And in general, after hearing about this, a lot of people were disappointed because this could have been a really cool collab. And also in general, it's kind of crazy how Roblox had a Lego collab or a potential Lego collab that early on, but it never ended up, actually happening. But with that, let's get to our next cancelled event, being an egg hunt. So back in 2021, an egg hunt was actually supposed to happen. Technically, nothing was confirmed, but back in 2021, Roblox was doing egg hunts every year at that point. So everyone thought there's going to be an egg hunt this year. And then with that, the reason a lot of people thought it was happening as well was because an official Roblox employee put a dev firm post just asking developers if they want to be part of the egg hunt 2021. And because of this post, everyone started freaking out for a number of reasons. Number one, everyone thought this meant that the egg hunt 2021 was confirmed, but then also with that, when this post released, it actually caused a lot of drama in the community because everyone was mad it's going to be another dev hunt. But what people didn't realize at this time was that there actually wasn't going to be an egg hunt this year. If you guys look back at this post from the developer forum, something looks a bit off. And if you realize, egg hunt is actually in quotation marks, and that's because Roblox actually didn't plan to do an egg hunt this year. I think there was some sort of leak and maybe some potential idea of them doing an egg hunt, but it was quickly ruled out because they actually had a different plan for this year. What ended up happening? Well, they ended up replacing the 2021 egg hunt with the 2021 Metaverse Champions. And at the time, it's caused the community to absolutely explode and everyone started freaking out because so much people were hyped for the egg hunt and everyone thought the egg hunt was happening, but it ended up being cancelled and replaced with an event called Metaverse Champions, which ended up being one of the most controversial Roblox events. And as we can see here, tweets from 2021 saying stuff like, hearing from multiple trustworthy sources that Roblox Egg in 2021 has been cancelled and replaced with Metaverse Champions. And like I said, it ended up being the most controversial Roblox event, number one because it replaced egg hunts, but also there's a bunch of other drama around it. And not only was it bad that Roblox cancelled the 2021 egg hunt, but it kind of marked the official end of egg hunts because we haven't got one ever since. Now with that being said, the elephant in the room obviously being we're getting an egg hunt this year, but we're getting one 4 years after, because of everything being cancelled and stuff, which is pretty crazy. And I mean, the egg hunt this year isn't confirmed, but it basically is. But it was pretty crazy how all this happened and they actually cancelled an egg hunt. And to this day, because of all the drama behind it, everyone calls this one of the worst events Roblox have ever done. Because on top of all that, they kind of used the dev hunt, format, but just not with eggs, which got people even more disappointed because if they just rebranded this as like an egg hunt, it probably would have done way better with the community. And anyways, our next is actually a cancelled concert. So back in 2022, the popular artist Tate McRae was actually supposed to have a concert. And this is probably one of the weirdest ones because unlike the other cancelled events, this one did actually happen for a few days and they were hyping it up like crazy. The other sponsored events that we've seen didn't even start, they're just kind of like rumored and leaked. But this one actually did start. The game was open for a few days, you could have played it and you actually got items for playing it. There's a bunch of items made with it, like a lot of items. There's items you could only obtain in game, and then they also released other items that you could buy with Robux. And it was insane because this game had like everything ready to go. All the items, you had a special emotes and everything. And it gets even weirder because it says here, on May 19, 2022, it became private and was removed from the events tab. All accessories also went off sale. But then it returned on May 27, 2022, and then once again on June 3rd, 2022, when the concert was supposed to happen, they updated again saying it was cancelled and it's going to be delayed to a future date. So I don't know what happened here or like what's going on, but they delayed it twice and it was supposed to happen, and they even still say that it's going to happen soon, but obviously it's been 2 years, I don't think it's happening. And in general, it ended up being one of the most confusing and weirdest things because we don't know why it got delayed this much. And it's also crazier because unlike the other events, this had everything ready to go. The place was ready to go, everyone could join it and play it. They had so much custom items, they had so much stuff you can do in the game, and it never ended up actually happening. And it's not only just that. This event is actually very controversial because in the game, One of the main items was the gold pile of wings, which were on sale for only an hour and is expected to go limited because I think they said in the game it's going to go limited. And due to the event being cancelled, the item actually never went limited. It ended up being a very controversial thing in the Roblox community because everyone kind of said that Roblox scammed them and they felt kind of scammed by Roblox. Because so much people bought this item thinking it's going to go limited, so much people spent so much Robux on it and it never went limited. And with our next cancel event, another movie collab, being The Croods all the way back in 2013, which was like an animated movie. Now apparently this event was supposed to be like super huge, it's going to have like a place made for it and it's going to be like a huge event in the community, but it never ended up actually happening. And weirdly enough, there's so much items made for this and even like weird packages made for it, it's kind of weird. But also with that, all across the Roblox website at the time, they were advertising this event like crazy, saying it's happening and coming soon. Now to be fair, I think the event did end up happening, but not in the way that you think. Instead of the big idea of making a game and like a whole event around it, all they ended up doing was having like a special page on Roblox where you could watch, I think, the trailer of the movie, and then that's basically it. It ended up being not much besides that. I think they maybe released some of the items, but it was a very weird thing going on because they had such big plans for it, and then they ended up just doing this. And next is actually a pretty big one because back in 2019, they actually canceled a potential holiday event, Christmas event, and it's called Holiday Magic, and it's supposed to happen, around December 2018 and leading to January 2019, Christmas time. But then for some reason, it was just got completely cancelled. We still don't know why, and obviously when it got cancelled, everyone's super upset because this could have been a huge and good event. People want Christmas events for so long. But a lot of people assume they cancelled it just because the community actually hated the other Christmas events. Because the last two Christmas events before this actually ended up just being like sponsors that they kind of hid behind like a holiday event, and everyone was just disappointed. So people thought that because of disappointment, they just didn't do this one as well. And then to make it all worse, apparently it was followed up by like an Aquaman collab event, which is super disappointing. And with that being said, there's like 4 more cancelled events that I'm going to quickly go through right now, because they're still pretty interesting. There's a 2015 Kid Choice Awards that was cancelled for some super weird reason. People said that it was copyright, which doesn't make any sense because it's the company themselves. It didn't really make any sense. And next was actually a cancelled to university event called Roblox University 2015. And I know what you're thinking, what the heck is a university event? Well, funny enough, the Roblox 2015 university event wasn't the first one that they did. It's actually a follow-up to the 2014 university event, which is actually a very interesting concept by Roblox, and I don't think a lot of people know about. You would actually have like videos and stuff that you could watch to learn about Roblox, and I think like making Roblox games. And then after you watch the tutorials, they would then quiz you on stuff and ask you questions like a real life test, like university. And if you did well in the test, then you would get prizes and stuff, which is pretty crazy. There's like 4 quizzes in total and like 4 tutorials, and you have to answer like questions for all of them. But this event concept ended up being pretty bad just because no one actually cared about learning. A lot of people just watched like tutorials on YouTube for the right answers, and it ended up just being kind of a flop because people didn't end up doing what they actually wanted them to do. Like they wanted people to learn, but no one actually learned. And that's why I'm assuming the 2015 version was cancelled. They had plans to do it, but then they probably realized that no one really cared and just kind of cared about the free items, so they didn't want to put too much effort into making tutorials again and then a whole quiz. So that's why it was probably cancelled. But in general, kind of cool concept. I feel like nowadays people would love this, teaching people how to make Roblox games and the basics. Maybe not the whole quiz aspect, but it was a generally cool concept, I feel like. Especially nowadays, a lot of people want to be developers. So official tutorials from Roblox themselves would be very cool. And once again though, this event had like some items attached with it that I don't think were released, but they did end up using the same like textures, I'm pretty sure, for future items. And then lastly, there's supposed to be like an Android event when they first launched on Android, and that's all we know. Nothing ever conceptualized of that. It's very interesting and very weird. But in general, as you can see, Roblox canceled some pretty major and huge events and collaborations, egg hunts, big collabs with like Lego and stuff, and a lot of times we don't know why stuff like this happens, and it's pretty unfortunate because we are robbed of some pretty great events that could have potentially happened. Out of all the ones to talk about, let me know in the comments what you think was the worst one that we didn't get, or the best one that we didn't get, and I'll see you in the next one.